I have been recording and editing for the last 5 hours. So let's keep this brief, shall we? It is currently... Well, it's currently September 22nd when I'm recording. Dynamite happened 2 days ago. So let's talk about Dynamite 9/20/2023. Let's talk about wrestling! And oh, buddy boy, have I got some things to talk about. Despite the fact we're going to try to keep this brief today. Watch this finally be the video that manages to just breach 3 hours somehow. So, I want to talk about this tournament that just ended. I find it amazing. Incredible, even. Whoever is writing, whoever is booking, they finally understood anything. I'm flabbergasted. I'm amazed. I was actually having fun. This is probably... No, not probably. This was definitely the best tournament that AEW has ever hosted. After all of these different absolutely dog shit tournaments that they've had, we can finally point to one that understands the true purpose of a tournament arc. But before we get to the tournament, I just want to mention a couple things that particularly wowed me about this episode of Dynamite. Saraya and Toni Storm made out in the middle of the stage. Interesting choice. Blackpool. Is it Blackpool or is it Blackbrook? Whatever. The Combat Club. Back-to-back losses. I couldn't believe it. Eddie versus Claudio was great. This really technical, kind of like perfect form wrestler against Eddie Kingston, who is a fat, schlubby everyman, like me, who just throws himself at the enemy until he wins. This kind of absolute opposite of styles clashing together. This clash is cool and good and awesome, and Eddie managed to get a heckin' win for once in his godforsaken life. Very cool. New York was great. New York was loud, bombastic, and they went absolutely apeshit. And then it wasn't just a back-to-back Blackpool loss, or Blackbrook loss, whatever. It wasn't just a back-to-back loss for them. It was Claudio and Mox. Two guys that don't typically lose very often. Like, Mox completely shocked me. I completely checked out of a Rey Fenix match because, I don't know, I've just been checking out of Moxley fights lately. I don't know. There's something about the way that Mox wrestles, or the way he's been portrayed, that just doesn't gel with me. And I can't really put my finger on it. There's something wrong. But this loss right here against Rey Fenix, great. Incredible. It's definitely going to help make Mox's matches more interesting. Seeing that he can get a just completely, seemingly random loss like this. Good work. Is that it? Oh! Sammy's evil! We did it, boys! Jericho's a good guy again, and Sammy's evil. Cool. That was fun. Apparently it had some sort of crazy parallel to Jericho and Heartbreak Kid. HBK. Shawn Michaels. Good lord. I'm a fake fan. I forgot the name of Shawn Michaels, but only for a second. So, back to tournament stuff, because we finally resolved this whole tournament with the headliner today. And who buddy, Tournament is happening. For the first time ever, we have a general idea of what we're doing. We get what the purpose of a tournament is, and we start to assign interesting matchups, right? I don't know if you can tell by my physique, but I watched a lot of anime back in the day. Perhaps you've heard of Yu Yu Hakusho and the Dark Tournament arc? You know, what most people consider the best tournament arc to ever be put to paper, right? The best tournament arc ever in anything is Yu Yu Hakusho. And what the Dark Tournament understands about it is that you can use a tournament arc to get a bunch of new, interesting people on the screen doing crazy powers, doing crazy fights, one after another. It works really well for what you call like the shonen mindset, where I just want to see cool fights happen one after another. Whatever. So it works well to use this kind of shonen template for wrestling. Because what do we want to see in wrestling? We want to see these long-form storytelling, and we want a bunch of fights in a row that are cool, unique, and good. So we start to get this general like booking structure, and it feels like it's all focused around one character, the protagonist of our tournament here, Roderick Strong. Now, Roddy is kind of a bad guy. Roddy is a bit of a villain, but it's kind of weird. No one really knows if we should be voting for or rooting for or against Roddy. Because we like MJF. MJF is a good guy now. We like Adam Cole. Adam Cole is a good guy now, and he's MJF's partner. Roddy is a good guy. He's got chutzpah, he's got heart, but it also feels like they're trying to make him out to be like he's manipulative and he's trying to drive a wedge in between Max and Adam. But we also know that Max is a scumbag. But we like Max right now. But are we supposed to like Max right now? So how do we feel about Roddy? I don't know. What I do know is that Roddy is slated to be the protagonist of this tournament. He's the guy, the underdog, that is fighting his way up, getting stronger, learning lessons, and eventually going to be able to slay all of his demons to meet up with an ultimate challenge. That being against Max for the belt. Because we already have the drama angle, we already have history between the protagonist and the ultimate goal. Everything kind of lines up for Roddy to fight Max. Now, when we were going through this tournament, you also see a couple other interesting matchups. Because you can't just have one guy show up and have him be the only focal point of a tournament. We want to have a bunch of different matches. We want to have a bunch of different characters, different brackets eventually coming in to meet in the middle. So you're going to have, people jobbing. You're going to have people upsetting. You're going to have people be absolutely insane. So you're going to start with the friend versus the friend. Usually in something like a shonen manga, you're going to have two characters that are buddy-buddy. They have each other's backs. They're good friends, but they're also big fighters. They're also big rivals. A tournament arc is a great way to kind of finagle the storytelling into getting these two guys to fight so that you can see who is stronger. Then you mash the action figures together until one of them breaks apart. So we have this idea with Darby Allin and Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne's a new guy. Nick Wayne is a new guy who is Darby's friend. And we are using this tournament to get more TV time with Nick Wayne. while also tying in some Christian Cage stuff. A lot of different ropes are going into this little masquerade puppet show, and it's working out really well. So we have the friend versus the friend. After that, we have the mentor character against the unstoppable monster. In Yu Yu Hakusho, you have this character, Toguro. And Toguro was an absolute monster man. He was unstoppably powerful. He trounced his way through the entire tournament. He was supposed to be this monolithic creature, not even human practically, that we're gonna have to find some way to beat. Who do we have that fits that bill? We got Samoa Joe, baby. Samoa Joe rips his way through everybody. He starts with typically it's a mentor character, but you can call it the grizzled veteran, somebody who has seen it all. You come across this character who is monstrous and powerful, and you have no idea how anyone's going to beat him, so the first test of his ability is to throw in a veteran, somebody who knows the business. We need to see if experience can outweigh this raw power. So we bring in Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy comes in, gets absolutely mollywopped by Joe, is killed instantly. We have the friend versus friend. We have him. Who did Joe fight after Jeff? I forget. There's one other fight that Joe had, and I remember it being interesting, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. Oh, Lord. I guess it wasn't that interesting to begin with. So, eventually we have this final climactic confrontation, right? Somehow, with a broken neck, Roddy Strong has managed to get his way to the finals of a tournament, and he has to find a way to defeat this monolithic beast, Samoa Joe. So they clash. And for once you feel the magic in the air. We all know that Roderick Strong does not stand a chance against Joe. We have an injured man and a monster, a creature, a beast. This gigantic hulking behemoth of a man who cannot be defeated, whose anger, whose violent outbursts cannot be quelled. But there's one thing that could beat Samoa Joe, and that is cheesy movie magic, baby. And that's what we thought Roddy had going into this fight. It turns out he did not. And this is where I say it was almost a perfect tournament arc. Because, man, we saw Roddy fight his way up, and we saw all of these different stereotypes, but good stereotypes, go into it. We saw Roddy work his way up to finally getting to slay his demon and fighting MJF. And it would have been a really sick and cool and good fight. Right? It didn't happen. It turns out this version of the Dark Tournament involves Toguro beating Yusuke. This is a version of the Dark Tournament where Kuwabara wasn't killed and Yusuke didn't unlock his hidden shonen potential to defeat Toguro. This was a version of the tournament where Toguro wins so that he can go off to fight Goku or something. And granted, it was well enough worth it. Jesus Christ, this main event was probably the best match I've seen. At least this year. It's top 5 probably for AEW. And that's including pay-per-views. That's including dark matches. That's including pretty much everything. This match was incredible. It was great. It didn't involve any stupid, gimmicky, violent tools. They didn't have to slam each other on tacks. They didn't have to beat each other with baseball bats covered in barbed wire. It was just two guys punching the fuck out of each other until one of them stopped moving. And it was great. A lot of good storytelling in the ring, out of the ring. MJF and Joe, they have history, apparently. Good shit. It's a good-ass match. So I'm not particularly sad that my beautiful baby tournament arc has been thrown to the wayside, I guess. Is that all I have to say? I don't know. It feels like something is missing.